Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to Talk of the Devils, brought to you by talkofthedevils.co.uk, your number one Manchester United podcast. I hope you're all good. 3-0 win in the bag. Mixed emotions backstage, but I hope you're all very well. Get your comments in, get liking, get subscribing, and we will go from there. Fred, Stu, Ellis, thank you very much, boys, for joining me. It is 10 o'clock. I do appreciate your time, but always have the best people on the show. That's what it's all about. Fred, how you doing, bro? And how you feeling after that?
Very well, thank you. Hope you are too. Yeah, very, very good. I thought it was just a job well done. Sort of when, as expected, the game dominated from start to finish. I don't think Sheriff actually had a shot, or not one that I could remember.
No, zero shots, zero on target.
Zero shots, 3 goals, clean sheet, and minutes under the belt of some players who certainly needed it. So yeah, very controlled performance. I think it was just an opportunity for the players to or Ten Hag to just sort of instill his tactical philosophy more so in players. You're seeing fullbacks invert, join in the midfield more sort of minutes for what's probably our best midfield together. And it was great to see Garnacho get some minutes under his belt as well. I thought he had a bit of a mixed first half, but it seems that second half, Ten Hag probably had a word with him at half time. You certainly saw a difference in going down the channel more, putting in some crosses with his left foot as opposed to just cutting in and passing backwards constantly. But yeah, very professional performance, I think, from all of the boys. And I'm sure it will get mentioned later, but I thought Luke Shaw, again, fantastic cameo in the half an hour towards the end. Great cross for Rashford's header. And yeah, very, very solid performance all around. Hopefully, a lot of positives to take us into the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely right. Controlled, professional, job well done. 3 points I think you made there that ring true. And yeah, I always forget about the 5 substitution rule. I need to remember that. But it was good that obviously that was there for us, so we could get a few players on, get a few minutes in. I thought everybody did their jobs very, very well done tonight. Even Harry Maguire, not even. Harry Maguire came on and was very, very good. Sprayed some wonderful passes. And we were talking about him the other day, weren't we, Stu? Casemiro in front of him. I know they didn't get a lot of minutes together, but he will improve and help Harry Maguire going forward. I don't think we got any problems there. Honestly, I know Varane is out at the moment. And that is a concern for some people, but I'm not concerned. You know, Lindelof's playing very, very well. Martinez, say no more. He's absolutely phenomenal. And Casemiro in front of the back four. We will be fine, boys. Stu, great to have you with us again. Anything to add to that, my man? You're on mute. Let me take you off.
I was almost excited then for a split second. Not quite, just almost. What I was going to say is I think Fred summed it up quite well. I thought it was just a performance tonight. We were never going to. It was never going to be scintillating because the worry is we still have got this inability to play against a low block, and we don't allow teams to have possession and use the ball, which allows us then to gain the space that we need. I think Fred's opinion on Garnacho was spot on. I've seen a multitude of channels and social media. Garnacho was absolutely superb tonight. He was good, and he's going to show a lot of promise, but he showed a lot of naivety in his play. And at this level, or against West Ham or against any other team, you can't afford to show naivety just yet. So I'm not going to go at the kid. There's clearly a lot of promise there, but he's got to understand if he is going to start games, what his position in the team is and what he's there to do in terms of what he wants to do at under 21 and under 23 level, because it's a completely different game. However, I've always said this about the younger kids. We haven't necessarily had the types of players that are able to coach these youngsters during the matches. And it was clear to me that Garnacho wasn't being coached through the game. And I think that probably changed. I think Fred's right. I think Ten Hag got into him at half time. I would suggest that Casemiro got into him at half time, Ronaldo, and said, look, mate, just relax, calm it down, get hold of the football, then decide what you want to do with it, because you're just rushing it a little bit. But, you can't take away youthful exuberance. That's what he offered. But he just needs to think a little bit more about what he's doing. But look, that will come with age. Apart from that, I thought it was a kind of a workmanlike performance. I don't think you could say it was anything of any real note. We're still not attacking with any kind of real speed. Although we're kind of attacking with kind of pressure, you have to bear in mind, Sherrif allowed us to almost walk, 3/4 of the way of the pitch. They almost allowed us to walk and into this brick wall. And what we're doing is we're just knocking on it instead of absolutely smashing your way through it, or bringing them out, as I said, and playing in behind the back. But look, you know what? We won 3-0. We're going to have a much more difficult game against Sociedad. Sociedad will do exactly the same. They'll play for a draw there because that's all they need. We have to win. We got to win by 2. So I think it'll be a really interesting game on Thursday next week. Looking forward to it. But look, 3-0. We qualified tonight anyway, haven't we? Well, I think we qualified last week, didn't we, to be fair? But we definitely qualified tonight. So, yeah, it's all good.
3-0 and 3 headers. I can't remember the last time 2 from set pieces that we were able to do.
Ronaldo popped it in. He popped it with his left. Ronaldo scored with his left.
He did. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Just before you go there, sorry, just one quick thing. Everybody's been having a pop at Donny van der Beek, etc., etc., etc. Did anyone notice his spatial awareness tonight? Was streets ahead of anybody else on that.
He's brilliant at that. It's what he does off the ball that people don't watch.
I'm still not finding him. Sorry, I just thought I'd mention that.
No, absolutely right. Ellis, good to have you on, buddy. I hope you're really well. I know you've been a busy man recently, but great to have you on. Anything to add to these two on your thoughts for the game?
Not really. I think it was just decent performance. I think the first 40 minutes, everything that we thought Sherrif were going to do, they just kind of sat behind us and we struggled to break him down. We got the breakthrough from a corner. And after that, it was pretty plain sailing. Didn't really cause any threats. It wasn't really a test. Just good minutes in the bank for players that have been struggling for fitness. I think that's the only thing we can really take away from it, really.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, it's listen, this is what we expect. I think we found it difficult to break teams down. Especially when you got 10 men behind the ball, I suppose, but they set up 5-4-1. It's obviously going to be very difficult to do, and we have to take these little silver linings from everything. It's professional. We did well. We controlled it and dictated the game, and we managed to break them down after the first goal. It was very, very easy from that point onwards. Talking about Luke Shaw, lots of talk backstage about him. He came on at half time. Malacia went to right back. Luke Shaw came on, but he was absolutely brilliant, wasn't he, Fred?
He was, and it was, I think, whether it's the competition or Malacia this season, I'm not sure, but he seems to be a different player compared to last year, sort of reminiscent of the player from the season before. It's just so evident how much he's overlapping more this season and compared to Malacia. And I think, if he continues this form, he has to be the first choice left back going forward. The crosses. His crossing has just been superb, and he's getting in the right positions. He can do a whipped cross. He can do a floaty cross. I thought the cross for Rashford's header was brilliant. The right cross given the distance between them.
I like the fact that you're a connoisseur of crossing, Fred. Thank you.
Big. I do like a cross, and I'll be honest. The first half, what I liked is Ten Hag knew that how the game was going to be planned out. He knew that they were just going to sit in, and our centre backs were just so high in the first half. And when things weren't happening in the first sort of 20 minutes, you could see that we were putting those deep crosses in. I think Bruno even reverted to that in the last sort of 20 minutes as well. But yeah, the fullbacks, it's evident that they're becoming very important in Ten Hag's system, and it's probably due to his time when he was at Bayern under Pep, because you are seeing them invert, you are seeing them get into the game more compared to what we've seen under previous managers. And kudos to Dalot as well. I did fear that this game was going to be one of those where, similar to the previous game, where it took a last-minute goal from McTominay. I think if we didn't get that goal just before half-time, it could have easily gone that way. So, yeah, it just shows the impact that the fullbacks are having in this Ten Hag team on both channels. It's a little bit concerning that we don't have much depth on the right hand side, but yeah, as you say, Malacia and Shaw, brilliant
Yeah,
options on the
what
left.
about Malacia coming in on that right hand side? Obviously, he can play both sides, predominantly the left hand side, but I thought he did quite well on that right hand side.
He did a job. He did a job. I mean, there was no, he had nothing. He had no defending to do. It was literally just off a cover on the right. Sort of when Anthony went off, he offered that left-footed impetus, and then I think Bruno drifted to the right as well. So you had a right foot, left foot combination. So TBC really. We yet to see him tested if he does cover that channel going forward. But yeah, it's an option. I'm not quite sure what's actually happening with Wan-Bissaka. I think Ten Hag did mention him before the game, but obviously we haven't seen him at all this season. And same with Brendan Williams. So yeah, it could be that we just go with the three fullbacks with Malacia switching between the two, acting as a sort of floating cover.
Yeah, I think Brandon Williams is still injured, and I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka is back, has trained with the first team, but probably wasn't deemed fit enough as opposed to Maguire and everyone else. Thank you. Going low on sugar, so I'm having an orange juice as we speak, but it's all right. We're all good. Anything to add to that, Stu? I know that we were talking about Garnacho backstage. I felt that he pressed well from the front. I think he was hungry. I think you could see that. Didn't do anything of from an amazing point of view, not expecting that, blah, blah, blah. But I thought he was okay. But anything you want to talk about from his game? Because I know you've had a lot of conversations in the background about him.
From Garnacho? Yeah.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, he just needs to steady up. He just needs to understand the magnitude of playing for Manchester United's first team. When you elevate yourself from under 21s, under 23s, under 18s, etc., it's a completely different ball game in terms of what you're playing. But you'll always get, as I said before, youthful exuberance. So you'll always get this absolute want to try and demonstrate your abilities and demonstrate what you're able to offer the team. And it doesn't always necessarily work out in that way. Most fans will say Garnacho was probably man of the match. But they'll look at it purely from a dribbling perspective rather than an actual game perspective. And sometimes he would attack the fullback and then he turns back on himself and he's laying it back off to Malacia, who it would have been, which is pretty reminiscent to what Sancho's doing at the minute. On the odd occasions when he is breaking through, and when he got round in the first 10 minutes, he got round their right back and tried to play the ball across into Ronaldo. He kind of, when he got round the right back, he was almost in the perfect shooting position to kind of bend it into the corner. But he carried on going to the byline to then get you crossing. And again, this is like not understanding where you are at any given time when you've got the ball at your feet. And it's quite critical. It's quite crucial to the way you develop as a footballer, where you're able to notice and understand where you are at any given time. But it happens to everybody. There are some of the best players in the world will lose their kind of balance and kind of think, Jesus, I've lost my bearings completely here. I don't know where I am. Where am I, etc. And it does happen. But that all comes with experience. I like him, but we've got to be very, very careful. You nurture him correctly and you bring him into action at the right time. I know he's not playing so much football at the minute due to the fact he's training with the first team and he's travelling with the first team. It would be a mistake to start him against West Ham because there's some big lads at West Ham, some competent footballers at West Ham, some, wily old foxes. I always remember this, and I'll hark you back to when he came on against Chelsea and Rudiger was playing. And he came on the pitch and Rudiger just walked up to him, barged into him slightly, tapped him on the shoulder. All right, son, and he turned around and he looked up at him. And you just know, Rudiger's a man mountain. He's just standing there and he's like standing over him, waving at him. Just come near me. Just come near me. I'll give you an inch, maybe. I'll give you two. And it makes you think, as an 18, 19-year-old guy, it will make you think, what do I do? Do I risk, getting a right kick in here? Or do I say, you know what? Tough, I'm going to go at you. That's the choice that he's got to make as an individual and as a man, not what, his coach. So there's obviously a lot of talent in there, a huge amount of talent, but just be cautious, guys. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I feel like we've had this conversation a lot about youngsters that are coming through into the first team. And people do seem to get ahead of themselves a little bit. And listen, this is not us degrading Garnacho at all, his performance or anything. We can see there's obviously a lot of ability there. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But sometimes we have to kind of take things with a pinch of salt, look at what he could do better, what he could offer. And you're absolutely right, starting him against West Ham would be a bad move. But obviously getting minutes against teams like Sherrif, like Ammonia, if he was obviously to play against them, those kind of teams, they're the ones that you want to get those minutes in and utilise those 5 substitutions, utilise all of those changes tonight in order to get minutes in the tank. Good points, well made. I want to move on to Casemiro. Stu, I know we've spoken about him a few times, so I'm going to come to Ellis about Casemiro and just how much of a fundamental player he's becoming for us. I know that tonight wasn't one of those nights where you could look at everybody and be able to sort of say that from Casemiro's point of view, but he's quickly becoming an absolute monster in that midfield, particularly in the last few games. But I just want you to give me your thoughts on him, Ellis.
I think we knew what we were signing when we signed Casemiro. We knew we were signing one of the best DMs and defensive players in the whole of Europe, and we've completely signed that. I mean, his performance at Chelsea was warrior-like, absolutely colossal in midfield. He provides stability and actual infrastructure in midfield that we've been lacking for so many years. Someone that can receive on the half turn and be able to play out is so key to this system that Ten Hag's trying to play. And you kind of see how fundamental he is. As soon as he got his fitness up, he's walked straight in and he's been fantastic. So I have no complaints about Casemiro. He's a warrior. He plays the nice tactical fouls when he needs to. He's a top professional and he's everything that embodies a United player. And I'm really happy he's at the club.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely right. Fred, anything to add on Casemiro there? Eriksen obviously came back, started tonight. Looked like he was dictating that game, and he's been a massive player for us. But they both were great tonight, I felt.
I think most of us are just slowly falling in love with him, really, and it just shows what we've been missing for so long. I think the last 6. I think he started the last 6 games and we're undefeated, and I don't think that's a coincidence at all. Like Ellis said, it's so refreshing seeing someone being able to receive the ball on the half turn from De Gea or the defence. And now we've even got defenders. Martinez can offer that impetus or off that ball going forward. I think he's one of the best I've seen in years, sort of on the floor, splitting the lines and moving the ball quickly from back to front. And the same with Lindelof. So Lindelof he was playing a few over the top as well today. So. Yeah, with Casemiro, the other thing with Casemiro as well is it surprised me how good he is at playing the ball forward. I think people just thought he's good at cutting the lanes, cutting channels. He'll defend, he'll intercept and then pass to Kroos or Modric as he used to. He's actually good on the ball and he's good at getting in the box late. And
I think we spoke about this actually before, didn't we? That I think he's surprised us all just how good he is at pushing the ball forward. And I think that when Ten Hag was looking at Frankie de Jong, that's the kind of player that he was looking at. Now, Casemiro for me is far better defensively as a central defensive midfielder, but also provides that progressive passing too, doesn't he?
Very much so, yes. And I just think Ten Hag time will tell. It's still early doors, but I think Ten Hag has integrated him into the team perfectly. I think there were a lot of concerns at the start of the year that, why is he not playing, whereas everyone else was? It takes time to adapt to the league, takes time to adapt to a system. Unlike the other signings, Ten Hag, he hadn't worked with Ten Hag before. So, I think he's been managed very well by Ten Hag and the staff of the club. It offers that balance that we've not seen for a very long time. And it's actually to the benefit of Eriksen and Bruno. They're able to play in their natural positions. And I don't think it's also a coincidence that we're seeing those two, hit some good form, especially Bruno, that we've not seen in a long time. So, very, very good signing thus far.
Yeah, I can't, other than obviously when we lose and whatever, these things happen. We can't win every game. I really can't fault Erik ten Hag at the moment. I'm really enjoying this United team again. I'm really enjoying the intricate passing that he is instilling into the team. I'm really enjoying the width that we're able to provide with the fullbacks, trying to get forward and the overlaps and even coming inside as well. It's so much better. And you know, everything that he's doing on and off the field with Ronaldo, with the transfers, it's been really enjoyable to watch and witness. And I really hope this continues to happen. A lot of people were writing us off for top 4 this season way before it started, but I'm firmly in the seat of we can absolutely get that. I absolutely believe that, and you know, continue doing what we're doing, and why the hell not? Moving on to the other 2 inverted forwards that played tonight, Anthony being one of them, and Marcus Rashford. Marcus looked great when he came on, really hungry, looked good, got his goal. Probably could have got 1 or 2 others. But Stu, how did you feel that he fared tonight? You're on mute again, bro.
I mean, how many streams has Stu done?
Honestly,
now?
what is going on?
I don't know what is going on. It's bad
Normally,
night, bad
sensible Stu, he's on it all the time, and here we are, twice on the trot.
I know. Rashford, yeah, okay. Again, nothing will beat him tonight. I thought he took his header well. The worry for me was Anthony. The worry for me was Anthony. I'd have absolutely been all up on him at half time for that little stupid poncy little dance he did. You don't do that unless you're 5-0 up, and then you don't disrespect the opposition. I don't know what was going through his head at that time. I don't want to make too much of it.
He's been known to do that quite often in the Ajax side, regardless of the situation. Listen, I'm not defending him. I understand, and I understand from your point of view why you would dislike
I'd have had him at half time on that.
I think that probably did happen. I think he probably did give him an earful, and he didn't.
But he didn't have his best game. He didn't have his best game. You know, he doesn't penetrate what he should do. He won't get beyond and behind the fullback. Again, he has a tendency to get so far, and then he'll come back, and then he'll try and cross him with his left foot. He clearly hasn't got a right foot, and that's fine. So my advice to you, Anthony, is get on the training ground and work on your right foot crossing, mate, because it's not a difficult thing to learn, and he could quite easily do that within 4 or 5 weeks. No problem. It's just cross. Don't go Gucci shopping. Work on your crossing. But Rashford, look, the thing about Rashford at the minute is he's not playing out of his skin, but he's actually quite pivotal to the way that Ten Hag wants to play, and he's quite pivotal to our side at the minute. I think Ronaldo slowly but surely liking playing with Rashford. I think he can almost second guess now where Rashford's going to be when he, when he's either, got the ball, or he's running with it, or he's trying to use and find Ronaldo. So I think it's becoming quite a nice little pairing, if one for the better phrase, when they're on the pitch together. That header, by the way, before anyone asks, it still doesn't make him a number 9 for me. It's a good goal.
No. He scored a few of them in the past. It still doesn't make him anything close to a number 9. No.
He needed neck muscles for that. He really did. It was a great cross, and it was a great goal. But he's not quite that number 9. So I thought he was good. I don't think. I know we'll talk about man of the match later. There's only 2 players that really stood out for me in the game tonight. Everyone else was a good 7. There was only maybe an 8, 2 8.5s for me out there tonight. So yeah, as good as it kind of got for Rashford, I think, tonight. He didn't need to do anything major though, because there really weren't an outfit. Although, to be fair, we would have been in real trouble if their centre forward had put that delicious cross in, because that was a delicious cross. Now, Martinez, by the way, you probably didn't see it, just on the offside. Just give him a little nudge. It's an old centre halves trick. Right down by the hip, just above the hip. It is. Referee can't see it. Old centre halves trick
to let you know that he's there.
Oh, so you got to do, because you're coming in, the ball's coming in, so, and you're watching the ball all the time. So what you're not doing, if you're goal side, and he was actually goal side of Martinez, you're looking at the ball and you're watching De Gea. So those are the 2 areas you're watching. And then Martinez comes in, as I say, it's just above the hip. It is. Anything higher, the ref sees it, and it could be a problem. So it's just above the hip.
I've seen that a few times from him, actually. He did it against Liverpool. He did it against Liverpool, did it against Arsenal, just to make his presence known. And you know what, Stu, we've had this conversation so many times. For someone that plays as a centre half as well, you're always saying that you want to make your presence known, right?
Yeah.
You want to give him a little bit, and just to kind of put him off a little bit, and it's worked. And I love that about him. I think it's been a long time since we've had a defender that really does that. That really
I taught him
controls
that
it.
trick as well. I
Did you?
taught him that.
Yeah,
I
I
taught
thought
him
you might
everything
have
in
done.
his
That's why I brought it up. That's why I brought it up.
Absolutely.
So Marcus Rashford, he's just a couple of comments that he's made afterward. I think it's taken a lot of hard work and time to adapt and change. We're understanding it more and more now. We're keeping more clean sheets and defending better. We still need to score more goals, but 3 goals tonight is good for us. He goes on to say, when we went 1-0 up, the game opened up more in the second half, and we created a lot more chances. We could have had a couple more goals. Goes on to say, if there was a frustration at missed chance at half time, I think it's a mix between frustration and just calmness. You have to be calm to keep creating the chances, and then be clinical in taking the chances that you create.
What did we create in the first half, though, apart from Dallow's goal?
Not a huge amount. No,
seemed
it
to be
took us a while,
clear-cut.
didn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Eric Ten Hag was asked about Anthony if he was brought off because of his spin. He said, no, it was more or less planned. I wanted to see Cristiano and Marcus Rashford closer together, and I thought Garnacho was playing quite well. And we've spoken about that. We've seen that, whilst Ronaldo hasn't scored too many goals this season at all, his relationship with him and Rashford is something you can see developing. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And obviously, he's come on to say that as well. What did you think of Anthony's performance tonight, Ellis, and Ronaldo as well? I thought that Ronaldo, as Stu said earlier on in the show, probably one of the best intense performances that he's provided for a while. But yeah, just talk to me about Anthony and Ronaldo tonight.
I think Anthony was okay. I think he was good in the transition. Obviously, going at players, I think was a little bit reserved because it was a low block. In returns to his spin, as much as it's not the most brightest idea that he's had, and obviously it doesn't look great. The meltdown that it's caused on Twitter from rival fans is absolutely sensational.
I like it. You know what? If he'd have done it and lost the ball, fair enough. He did it, whatever. It doesn't bother me.
It's sensational that people actually care that much that he's literally just passed the ball out of play. It's beautiful. But in terms of Ronaldo, I thought he was very good. He looked hungry, like he had a bit of a point to prove, a bit of chip on his shoulder, if that's the phrase. I don't know if I've messed it up, but yeah, did really, really well. He had loads of chances before his goal. He had that one where he just kind of, I thought he was going to score. You know, the one where he shimmied around the player on about the penalty spot and put it wide. I thought that was a guaranteed goal, but I think he played well. He's a natural number 9. He gets himself in them positions. It's not a mistake when he's in there. I think me and Stu have had so many conversations about his movement. His movement is still world class, and now we have the players to find him. And he's just out of form where he's not going to score. But if you play himself into form, he's going to score hatfuls. And it's just a shame that he only got one tonight because he could have had 4 or 5.
What I couldn't understand about, you're right about when he shimmered round, it was wonderful that, but why he didn't go low instead of going for the top corner is beyond me. Because if he'd gone low, it was no chance. The keeper would never. In fact, I don't think the keeper would have seen it because he was using the player as a mask. Absolutely superb.
Just a quick question. I'm going to come to each of you. Bearing in mind we're playing West Ham this weekend, obviously a lot more boisterous. Probably going to give us a lot more problems in the air, that kind of thing. Who would your midfield 3 and front 3 be for this weekend? Fred, I'll come to you first.
I think midfield 3, you can't look beyond Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. Front 3, Anthony on the right. I don't play Ronaldo. I don't think you can play him in the league. I understand what Ellis is saying about his performance, and he is probably our most natural striker. But I just think we play better as a team without him. And the intensity against Sherrif compared to the intensity of the Premier League, they're 2 totally different ends of the spectrum. So, I mean, if Martial was fit, I would go Martial. He's probably too soon to throw him into the starting lineup. So potentially Rashford through the middle, even though that's been a bit hit and miss against non-top 6 teams. and that would automatically really think or put Sancho on the left, even though he's not really in form. But as Stu mentioned earlier, you can't really play Garnacho. You can't throw him in.
No.
He's only 18. That's it's his first game. That's the benefit of the Europa League. You can blood in youngsters, but the league's a totally different gravy. So, yeah, I think the midfield starting three, the starting midfield today is probably our best midfield, and you've got to go with that in the league. And then Anthony, Sancho, Rashford, in my opinion, and hope that Sancho plays himself back into form soon, because we are light in the attacking positions, and that's been a real problem area in the last month or so.
Yeah. Just on that, before I come to you, Stu, with that same question, he was asked about being more clinical. So he said, "I don't know if those are the words that Man United needed to be more clinical. It's more to bring more numbers in and to get behind the defensive line. That's especially about occupation of the zones in the box, and that is what we can do better." He then goes on to say the examples are the second and third goals. We are with more in the box. We occupy the positions, and that is what we have to do more. Any comments on that, Stu? And then give me your three midfield and three strikers for the weekend.
He's just giving you a coach's speak there. That's all he's done. You just, there was nothing new that I saw tonight that I hadn't seen over the last couple of games in terms of our box occupation, and if that's what that's how you want to call it. Okay, maybe Anthony coming a bit closer from the back post than what I've seen in the past. Garnacho didn't do it, by the way. So when the balls were being cut in from the right, Garnacho was still quite wide on the left. So I'm not really sure our box occupation, what a phrase, is as good as what he thinks.
We'll coin that.
We'll coin it. However, going back to the original question, I don't disagree with Freddie. To be honest, I think Casemiro, Eriksen, and Fernandes. Because the thing about Casemiro, as I said to you Tuesday, whenever it was, Mark, Tuesday, I think. I've lost my days. He allows the Eriksen and Fernandes to play as 2-10s, but they don't occupy the same space because of the way that Casemiro positions himself. He's always waiting for turnover all the time. And when turnover doesn't occur, he's then that kind of auxiliary striker ready to have a pot shot from 25 yards. So he's always very, very central, and that allows Eriksen, it allows Fernandes to have that freedom, which they do. So, and I think Freddie's right. I don't think Ronaldo starts. I think Rashford comes in through the middle. And then we've got Sancho. You're going to have to bring Sancho back in. Or Elanga, maybe. Sancho or Elanga.
No calls for Fred or McTominay. And the reason why I say that is because obviously McTominay is very much better in the air. I appreciate he's not technically as good as Eriksen if you were to drop him.
There's no point, because after West Ham, we got 3 games before the World Cup. 4 games. 3 or 4 games. I can't remember exactly what it is. So there's no point. You just play you settled 11 now. See it out to the World Cup. See what happens at the World Cup, because don't forget, by the time the World Cup's over, by the time the World Cup final is over, okay, there's 5 days for any players. If any players play in the Premier League, they'll have 5 days from landing to play in the next Premier League match.
That's not ideal at all, is it?
No, and then you've got Boxing Day after that. So I would go with what we've got. We need to beat West Ham. We need to keep this momentum, because we're not a million miles away off top spot, believe it or not. I think we're only about 8 or 9. Maybe 10 points off top spot, and there's a long
8 points from top. Yeah, 7 games unbeaten now as well.
So there's a long way to go in the Premier League title race. Yeah, City aren't on pulling up any trees at the minute. There's a potential problem, isn't there, with Haaland? I don't know how big the issue is, but there's a potential injury there with him. So I think he picked up a knock against Dortmund, didn't he?
Right.
Think about Haaland, by the way. He's not scoring against the top teams. He's only scoring against the mid-ranked teams. And we were mid-ranked when we played him. We were mid-ranked.
Yeah, careful.
I just thought I'd point that out.
No, good points, well made. Who would your midfield 3 and strikers be for this weekend? And any other points? We'll come on to the player ratings.
I don't want to cause any disappointment, but I did see the same thing about Haaland, but I think Pep said in his presser today that he's fine. He just had a bit of flu and a little bit of discomfort in his foot, but apparently he's back and fit for a weekend, so he'd probably just score another hat trick. But
Yeah, but they're only playing. Yeah, they're playing.
Leicester,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I could score against Leicester.
I think anyone can score against Leicester.
Exactly. Yeah,
John could probably get on the back of a cross against Leicester. Probably beat Castagna in the air. I'd probably say the same. I don't disagree with any of the points that have been made. Casemiro, Eriksen, Fernandes, and then your front three could either be Sancho, Rashford, Antony, or if Martial's fit, maybe comes in for Sancho because he's out of form. But any of them front three, I'm not fussed. I still think the game plan and the philosophy would still be there no matter the front three. So I think any of them could be rotated, and we've got big games coming up. Obviously, as Stu mentioned, the run up to the World Cup is going to be intense. And any front three, I'm not bothered. It could be.
No, I think you're right. You know, it's a nightmare, this World Cup, really, isn't it? For many reasons, obviously. But honestly, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm quite patriotic, right? And I enjoy the big competitions, but I am not looking forward to it for various reasons and all the rubbish behind it with Qatar and all that. Just not interested, and it's just a pain for the Premier League. I want to see that continue on and see the great football. It
just don't feel like a World Cup, does it? World Cups, bucket hats, beer gardens. I don't want. No one wants to go to a beer garden and have a pint. You'll have
to wear about 3 layers, Ellis.
Yeah, exactly. With like skins on everything. No, thank you. No, it's just so weird.
Yeah, well, hopefully it won't happen again in 4 years' time, but we'll see. Right, player ratings then, guys. David De Gea, I mean, we can't even give him one, really.
He didn't do anything. He didn't have to do anything, did he?
No shots. Absolutely zero shots. He didn't even get the opportunity to run off his line like he loves to at the minute, or anything like that, so we'll ignore it. Right then, Freddie, Diogo Dalot.
I think most of my ratings are just going to be boring 6 and 7s. I think the game wasn't. No one really stood out. It was just a standard professional performance, as I mentioned. But I'll give him a 7 just because he got the first goal, which got the ball rolling, so to speak, and the mini floodgates to open. I think he's been one of the standout performers and certainly the biggest improvers this season. And being one of the people that Ten Hag took off to rest just shows his importance in the team for many reasons. So I'll give him a 7.
Yeah, I'm really. I've been a fan of him for a long time. To be honest, I know he's questionable defensively, but I'm really pleased how much he's come on leaps and bounds this season. Really pleased. Obviously, I know he's still questionable defensively, but he's clearly quite important. And I'm really pleased for him and pleased that he got his goal tonight. So Victor Lindelof, Stu.
I thought he was steady. He gets a 6 for me. I thought he was steady. He didn't have to do much. So
these ratings are going to be rubbish, aren't they? Martinez, Ellis.
6. Oh my God! Don't know what is wrong. Don't know what is up with my voice tonight. 6. I think he's just okay. Just the same as Lindelof, really.
Yeah.
I love Martinez. I absolutely love him. Malacia, Freddie.
6.
Okay, try and help me out here, guys. We'll come to the subs afterwards, all right? So we're going to do the first 11 first. Casemiro, Stu.
7. He gets a 7.
Oh, there we go. We're pushing the boat out a bit. Christian Eriksen, Ellis.
7. I think he was okay. I thought his ball playing and his distribution was top as per usual. So it's just a simple 7, really.
Okay. Freddie Garnacho.
I think 7's too generous. I'll give him 6, and that's probably quite controversial. Yeah, if he had a better first half, I'd have bumped him up to a 7. But I'm not a fan of. The thing is, Ten Hag said before the game he's been very sort of positive and brave in training, and I didn't see that first half. I geared myself up for a totally different Garnacho. We saw glimpses of it second half, but I don't like the sort of getting in the position forward and then turning your body and passing back. I thought, expected when you're sort of 18, you sort of should be a bit more raw and have nothing to fear. We didn't really see that today. So I think a 6, but I think this game today, he'll learn a lot from it, a lot more than what he'd take away from the under 21s or 23s. A high 6.
Yeah. I think it would be a massive learning curve and experience for him today, and that's what it's all about fundamentally.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes, Stu. I don't feel like I saw much of him, to be honest. He had an opportunity in the first half.
6.
Okay.
But I would have given an 8 and an 8. So
You would have given an Ericsson an 8?
Yeah, I thought he was good
I
tonight.
thought he was good. Yeah, I thought he was good.
I'm only basing that on the way that he can pick a pass, but he can find space brilliantly. So yeah, I'm just giving him an 8.
Yeah. Ellis Anthony for you.
I'd probably go 6, but Stu's going to want to give a minus for that flick, for that little turn. So I'll probably go 5 because I think Stu would absolutely kill him. 5. And he's that angry. He's left the show. He's just disappeared.
I don't actually know what's happened there. He might
He's
be
that disgusted.
But anyway, he's either pissed off, and we'll find out about it in a minute, or he's left. What did you give Anthony? Sorry, bro.
Go 5 or 6. I'll go 6 because I.
Sorry, I was messing around with the camera.
We thought you were really angry. We thought
Well,
you
I
were
was
really
a dominant game of 6.
Yeah,
you
could have played that
on behalf of you for the little.
Yeah, because of that fucking pirouette. Fuck off. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Moving on to. So, did you want to rate him then, Stu?
Anthony.
Yeah, because you were.
No, not really.
No,
not really. Oh,
Okay.
no. I can't rate him tonight because even if you take that out of the equation, I don't think it was anything special tonight anyway, in his general play. So.
No, I agree. Right, who wants Ronaldo? Not all at once.
I'll take Ronaldo.
Yeah, go on then.
Ronaldo. 8. I think he was very good. I think his movement was very, very good. And I think his link-up play for once was actually quite okay, especially in the second half. Well, I think that's because we had more space.
Yeah.
I think some of these little turns, these little scissors were very, very nice and quite acute. So yeah, I think 8. He took his goal. Well, didn't take his goal well. Good header, obviously. Striker's instinct, gets the rebound. But yeah, I'd say an 8's fair.
Wonderfully summed up. Thank you very much, buddy. Right, Harry Maguire, Freddie.
Soft 6. I mean, it's just good to get some minutes under his belt. I was quite happy to see him back, actually.
Me too.
I'm sure some fans weren't, just because they just
I
don't
thought he
like
did
him.
fine.
But yeah, I thought he did really well. Yeah, solid, and a few sort of good diagonal passes. One thing I noticed that he played right centre back, whereas he's been playing left centre back the past few years. They shifted Lindelof left when Martinez went off, which was quite interesting.
Yeah,
I think
that
Ten
is
Hag's
interesting.
identified that. Yeah, he's got that cross ball ability, which I think he did a few times to Garnacho. So yeah, solid 6. Good to see him back.
You know, I'll be honest, and this isn't any criticism towards the coaching staff at United over the years at all, but he was the left-sided centre-back at Leicester as well. And I think, personally, I'm putting 2 and 2 together, but personally, probably what happened was he came in, continued to play it on that left-hand side, and I think you're right. I think that maybe Ten Hag has sussed that one out and changed that. But I thought he was solid today. I think you'll see a better Maguire behind Casemiro. And
He had Chilwell there, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Chilwell is I don't like Chilwell as a player, but
No.
he's decent, and that would have been a really good relationship. He just didn't strike that relationship, but we're sure.
No, I agree. So we'll see what happens with him. But listen, as I said at the beginning of the show, don't panic about the defence. It will be fine. I think we've got some stability there. We've got Martinez, we've got Casemiro, and listen, 3 years ago, Lindelof and Maguire were our first 2, and they did very well for us. That hasn't changed. They'll be fine. So, right, moving on to... we didn't talk about Marcus already, did we? No.
Yeah, we've done Marcus.
We
We haven't
didn't-
scored him yet.
We haven't scored him, that's what I mean. So I'm going to come to you, Ellis, on Marcus Rashford.
7. I think he looked energetic, hungry when he came on. I think he's looking like that every game. We've really kind of seen him turning his fortunes at United. Took his goal very, very well. I'd go 7. He looked up for it tonight, and 7.
Yeah, good points, well made. Scott McTominay, Freddie.
Again, 6. Yeah, I mean, just came
Shame
on
he
a little
didn't score
cameo at the
in,
end.
wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he's looking very confident. He's a very good start to the season himself. So yeah, solid 6. Good to just get some more minutes under his belt as Casemiro's displaced him in the first team. So yeah, 6.
Yeah. Man of the match, Luke Shaw, Stu.
Yeah, definitely man of the match for me. 8.5. Can't quite give him a 9, But he was man of the match for me. Yeah, I thought he was excellent when he came on. I really did. Yeah.
These ratings have been very generous on the bottom two. I mean, Jesus,
I know.
Giving out the
So
eights
it's
and the
almost
nines.
like they don't know what they're doing.
Well, here's the
20
interesting thing. I saw a bit of a debate a while ago, really, and somebody said to me, "You can't give a substitute man of the match. He only played half an hour."
Oh, no.
Well, I said, yeah, I get that, but you're not understanding football. You know what? Here's what you mean. I said, well, out of the 11 players, even if you stay on for 90 minutes, you probably only touch the ball for about 35, maybe 40 minutes throughout the game. That's your involvement. It's what you do with the ball that determines how good and what effect you've had on the game. And Luke Shaw had an effect on the game when he came. When he came on, he had an effect on the game. And that's the key thing to man of the match. It's not how many dribbles you do. It's about what effect you have. And Luke Shaw had an effect. Always remember that, Ellis. When you're coaching, your team or you're playing football, lads, all about your effect, mate.
Fred, we've just beat an established international team. Excuse me, these beat Real Madrid last week.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Fair all around. Let's have a bit of fun. Let your hair down.
And their new manager bounce was eliminated. So yeah.
He's been caretaker. This is the fourth time he's been caretaker, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Oh, really?
Yes, fourth time he's been caretaker or something.
Poor geezer.
You just give up, wouldn't you?
You would, wouldn't you?
He's hoping, clearly.
Just give it me. That's
right. Last but not least, Ellis, I'm going to give you Donny van der Beek.
Well, he gets a 9, Donny does. Ellis is
generous. Couple of beers down there, Stu. I'd probably say 6, 7. I think his movement in between the lines, as Stu said, don't copy and paste. It's very, very good. We've always known this, and I think he's going to be a really good option going forward. Obviously, I don't think he'll be in the Netherlands World Cup, so that's going to give him some time. I don't know, in friendlies or whatever United put on program-wise during the World Cup to get his fitness back up, and he can really challenge when he comes back in after the World Cup. So I'd probably say 6 or 7, 6.5, 6. I think that's fair.
I would imagine Donny's booked his holidays. I bet he can't wait.
Maldives.
Yeah, I think
he's been on holiday for 2 years, hasn't he?
No. Yeah. What about Jones? Phil Jones. I thought he was excellent tonight. We'll give Phil Jones a 6.
I'll give him a 10.
Well, why not? But who's everyone's man of the match anyway? Just out of interest, who is everyone's? Mine's Luke Shaw. I thought
I think Luke Shaw for me.
I can't disagree with this, but I thought he was excellent. I thought
Ellis is going to disagree.
Yeah, might be. That's fine. Hold on. We'll come to you in a second, brother. For me, Luke Shaw, he took on play as well. He made some great crosses, something he's been criticised for, obviously, and I thought he was very good. But anyway, sorry, Ellis. Over to you, brother.
I'd say Anthony just for that spin. I'd probably say Shaw, because I think if I played striker at Stu's Sunday League game, he'd go straight through the back of me for saying that. So I'm going to go Shaw as well because he was very good.
So something that was certain that's come out of tonight is both Stu and Ellis have both had a drink and have no idea what they're talking about.
Who do you think the fans voted man of the match?
Go on.
Ronaldo.
Garnacho, probably.
Garnacho, clown.
Yeah.
Absolute clown. In fact, I'm just looking at it now, right? Casemiro got a 4% vote. Garnacho got 31%. 31%. Ronaldo 24 and Eriksen 22. That is your problem, isn't it? That is your problem with the generation of football fans.
Well, fortunately, they just vote on the app as opposed to the actual Opta stats, because we'd have big problems then. But no, listen, again, we're not taking away anything from Garnacho. He put in a decent performance, but you're absolutely right. There's a lot of things that he needs to take away from that, and hopefully he can keep building that experience and moving on and getting better. Listen, guys, we're going to wrap up. Obviously, a solid to a certain extent performance tonight. The 3 points that we needed, but the real one comes against Sociedad next week. On Thursday, so we'll be back for that, of course, for the reaction. Hopefully, my record this season is actually becoming very good. So I'm hoping to continue that into next week. We beat them by at least 2 goals. And of course, we beat West Ham at the weekend. Thanks for joining me today. Really, really appreciate it. I know it's a late one, but it's always great to have you on. Always great to hear your thoughts. Thanks to everybody in the comments as well. Get liking, get subscribing, and we'll see you very soon.